Hello and welcome, everyone, to the Untranslatable Podcast. We are here recording episode 17, Tips and Tricks to Learn Another Language. So this one is really dedicated to all our devoted language learners out there trying to learn a new language, whatever language that may be. I am here with my wonderful co-host, the man with the plan, the dude with the tude. I was trying to think of other things that would rhyme. My buddy Jared. What's going on?
Hello. I do have a toot.
That's
Don't
right.
get on my bad side or else you'll see my toot.
For those of you that don't know, tude is attitude.
Yes. Or you could also see my toot on Twitter if you follow me. Well, us, I guess. I do the Twitter stuff.
Yeah, it's basically you. Who knows? Maybe I'll have to hijack the Twitter once I get to the Czech Republic.
Once Chad figures out what the password he'll hijack the Twitter.
Right? Go figure.
And he'll do some outlandish shit. So I look forward to that. If you follow us on Twitter, it'll be Untranslatable1, the number 1. Our Instagram is Untranslatable Podcast. I posted some pictures from my On the Road Again trip in New Orleans.
Yes, sir.
No new one since the last time, I don't think. Oh, maybe I did. No, I did. My the one where I had a visit to LSU.
Oh yeah, that was quite the story.
And then then you can also email us at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. Tell us of when you snuck into other college football stadiums around the U.S.
That's
Please.
right. Or you could send us your own untranslatables, or if you have any tips or tricks to learn a new language, please send it our way. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
So Jared, you brought up being in New Orleans. It sounds like you had a lot of fun there, and it's always great during the summer to try to travel somewhere new, get to enjoy a new place. What other kinds of things have you been up to this summer, since summer is sadly slowly coming to an end?
Well, I did go to Chicago right before we started this podcast. That was fun.
What were you doing in Chicago?
Just hanging out with friends. It was just a vacation. I went to the beach. I don't think I'd ever been to the beach in Chicago. I mean, I'd walked across it, but I've never actually experienced the beach.
I'm surprised
so that was nice.
You haven't jogged across it.
I have. That's what I'm saying. But
Okay.
I actually
All
went there as a
beach goer.
Exactly.
Yeah. I gotcha.
Not as someone running by it.
Right.
So that was fun. It was a pretty chill summer, I would say. I'm trying to think of other things I did, and I can't even think of anything. Nothing out of the ordinary, at least.
You know what's interesting, Jared? So you said you'd probably describe it as a chill summer. So I just got done teaching one of my ESL classes,
right?
And I would always ask my students to try to summarize their weekend, or if they were talking about a movie they liked, I would always try to challenge them and tell them to summarize it in one word. So you did that very nicely. A chill summer.
Well, that's 2 words, but
chill.
I guess is the word.
Your summer was chill, yeah.
Gemütlich.
I'm trying to think, right? Sehr gemütlich. I'm trying to think. I don't know. My summer has been crazy, man. It's just been busy, moving from out of my apartment where I was living for, almost 4 years.
How was that? How did that feel? Were you sad to see it go?
Yeah,
or you were good riddance?
I was. I felt pretty at home where I was staying, and it was nice to have my own place, not too far from MSU's campus.
Right.
Had a lot of memories there, and it also was very close to my teaching jobs over the summer. I was very fortunate to get to work with some really, really good kids and teach them German, so that was a lot of fun. And yeah, it's weird not having one moment. Sorry, my girlfriend is trying to FaceTime, but we're already FaceTiming right now, so that's gonna have to wait for another day.
There's only room for one.
That's right. That is right. But yeah. So, anyways, it was just nice, I guess, to kind of have my own place. I mean, you've been out of your parents for a while now.
Yeah.
It's always an adjustment when you move back.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But,
you kind of
could be worse.
Kind of treat you like a kid a little bit, but you kind of have to take it.
Right. Well, I mean, you know what they say. You're under their roof. You're in their rule. You gotta obey by.
Is
their
that what
rules.
they say, Chad?
That is. They're in.
You're in your house. You play by the rules.
I'm getting too distracted here. My bad. This is what happens when. See, I wish there was a way you could just turn. Well, maybe I could just turn off my phone. Maybe that's probably the.
By the way, everyone,
solution.
I put my phone on airplane mode. And I put my computer on Do Not Disturb mode. So
Jared's a good podcast host. I wish I could say the same about myself.
On Chad, but Chad's talking to ladies. She's ordering a pizza.
That's right.
From Papa John's, nonetheless.
Actually, I prefer a Krusty Krab pizza myself.
It is the pizza for you and me. That is true.
Oh, yes, it is.
So you said you taught German and you taught ESL?
That is correct.
Were these are two separate classes? How old were these German teaching? How old were these kids that you're teaching German?
So for German, it was college. Well, both were college level, but I also got to teach like a German camp for kids. I think they were age. We had some young kids like 4 or 5, and a couple kids that were like 11 or 12.
This was all this summer?
Yeah, dude. It was. There was at one point where I had like 3 different jobs going on in this week.
In the words of Pharrell, I'm a hustler, baby.
That's right.
I just want you to know. It ain't where I'm been. It's where I'm about to go.
That's right. And where I'm about to go is across the pond, the big old pond off to the Czech Republic.
Well, by the time people are listening to this, you are across the pond.
That is true. So welcome from the Czech Republic. Or as they say in the Czech Republic, Dobrý den. Which means
Dobrý den.
day.
How do you say? Okay, so a couple things about you going to the Czech Republic. First of all, we're going to need a word of the pod, right?
Oh, for sure.
Because you should be learning words at a greater rate than we record podcasts.
Ideally, yes, because otherwise that's 2 words a week. That's not doing too hot.
I cannot wait to have a Czech word of the pod.
Oh yeah, that would be
add
great.
To my polyglot collection. Or even more than just a Czech word of the pod, maybe like a fun little grammar, fun grammar, like a fun grammar fact, or like if you put the e here, but then flip it around here, then you're actually telling someone to go.
Right. I'm sure I'll find some of those. I'm hoping I can find some like false cognates, because false cognates are always really funny.
So Chad, I talked about going to Nolens, which you're not supposed to say apparently, and Chicago, and you talked about teaching a bunch of kids. What was like a highlight of your summer, though?
Well,
was it to teach a bunch of kids?
I mean, that was one highlight, but it wasn't the only highlight. Don't you worry. I got another highlight for you, and that highlight is actually two highlights for you, and they are based in Cleveland, which is one, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I know, right? Actually, dude, I gotta be honest with you. I really liked Cleveland. It's not too bad of a city.
But to be honest with you, the only reason I do that, and you know why I do that, because you're from
Michigan. Yeah,
it's kind of just built in for people from Michigan to make fun of Ohio for no real reason.
It's really
I
funny.
assume they do the same thing, don't they? I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure they do in Ohio. Are you kidding me? I think some of it probably stems from the football rivalries.
Yeah, I guess so, probably.
I mean, OSU and U of M, and also OSU and MSU, those are all big games.
Right.
So I feel like that's one thing. I think the other thing might even go way back historically, the fact that, I don't know if you know this, but Michigan actually went to war against Ohio for Toledo and also for the Upper Peninsula, and Michigan obviously got the Upper Peninsula, and Ohio got Toledo. I think we got the better deal off that.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
They can have Toledo. That's fine.
Right? Yeah,
Toledo's
the UP is
like
gorgeous.
A smaller Detroit.
Right. Yeah. So I was in Cleveland, and I was fortunate enough to check out the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and also then the next day I stayed there. I went to the Cleveland Museum of Art, which was huge.
When you went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, one, I told you should get a plaque made and just put it up with your name on it. And
didn't do that. Didn't have time for the plaque.
And then second, was there anything before you got there that you were like, I gotta see this one, or like, or like anything that really stuck out to you while you were there, or any surprises? Like, oh, I didn't know this person was in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, Jared, let me give you a tip and a trick since we are talking about tips and tricks this episode.
Please.
I try to go into any museum, or I mean, I would consider the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame basically a museum as well.
Probably. Of the greatest rock and roll people.
Right. I would go in there with no expectations because I think too many people, like, it's so funny if you talk to people who go to the Louvre and they see the Mona Lisa because it's actually a fairly small painting.
Yeah.
And so they're expecting to see, I think a lot of people expect to see this like giant mural or something, and they go in and it's like not even like a foot by a foot.
There?
I have not, but I know
I have, and it's crazy packed. It's crazy packed.
Yeah, just to see that. I mean, it's a beautiful painting, but it's so tiny. It's
and
not
you
even
need to
that
pack
big.
in there to see it. Like, you got to get close to see it.
Yep. So I try to go into museums without any expectations because I feel like I think it's one thing to look forward to visiting a museum for whatever reason, but I think some people go in there. If you go into anything, especially artistic wise, or like musical, and you go in with too many expectations, you're just going to be disappointed.
Right.
I didn't drive 3 hours to be disappointed. So,
my thought was because you were such a fan of the genre.
That's true.
That you'd be like, oh, I can't wait to see.
Well, you take a guess what I was super excited to see. You probably know.
I don't know. What do you mean, like Jimi
which
Hendrix
artist? Yeah. See, right there, you knew it. Yeah, I was really.
Does he have like a shrine in that place?
It was. He has like a little section. Yeah, it's not. It's not nearly as big as Elvis or the Beatles, but I sadly don't think Hendrix.
Well, Jimmy wasn't
as
around
popular.
for that long.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He recorded, I think, for like 3 or 4 years, and that's it.
Right.
It's crazy though the amount of great music he put out in that short period of time.
I mean, he wasn't around for that long, but that's all he was. I mean, other than drugs and stuff. That
right.
That's all he was doing was playing guitar in those 3 to 4 years. But yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, and I mean,
what a legacy.
Right? It's crazy. I mean, I can't even imagine putting out all that crazy music in 3 to 4 years. But yeah, so Jimi Hendrix, that was really cool. I was hoping that they'd have his Stratocaster he played at Woodstock. They did not. So see, I guess I did go in with some expectations. I don't know where that is. That's a good question. But they did have his Flying V that he like painted himself, which is pretty cool.
Okay. What's painted on there?
It's like some like flowery pattern. It's pretty cool. Okay. Very, very like late 60s kind of, psychedelic a little. But what was crazy, dude, is they had a bunch of his outfits from concerts. So that was interesting.
A lot of flared shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Large flared collars.
For sure. Absolutely.
Whenever I think of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I always think of Tenacious D when they was that where they were at, where they were breaking into the Hall of Fame?
I think it is, yeah. Maybe. Could be.
Maybe not. I don't know.
It's set up way different in the movie than it is in real life. In real life, you start kind of in the basement, and you kind of start with early rock and roll. Like, what was really cool is the first couple things you see are like Muddy Waters Telecaster, which was really cool.
Okay.
Freddie King's ES335. It's like a beautiful Gibson guitar.
ES335.
Yep, they're beautiful.
That sounds like a Lexus.
They're like a hollow body. Then they also had John Lee Hooker's guitar there. So those are like blues greats. They had all sorts of stuff. They had a pretty decent sized Beatles section.
Oh, I'm sure they had a nice little corner.
Right, and then what was interesting though is they also had some contemporary stuff, and these are artists that aren't yet in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm sure they will be. I found out one of the rules actually to get inducted is it has to be 25 years after your first like record came out or song or whatever.
Okay. First of all, they make the rules, but
right.
So the rules can be almost whatever you want them to be.
But that's what their current rules are. So like technically, like Taylor Swift, she had stuff in the museum, but she's not an inductee yet, I don't believe, because I mean her first like hit singles came out when we were in high school, right? And we're not that old.
I mean, she and herself is only like 25 or 27.
So there you go, yeah.
What do they consider rock and roll?
That's the
I
other
mean, that's
thing.
been talked about
That's
a lot,
great
I'm
question.
sure.
That's a great question, Jared. What I really like is they use a very loose interpretation of rock and roll, I think they basically use any music that has influence or been influenced by rock and roll is what they have, because they had a little wall with like they had
Well, that's
a
literally
sweater
everything.
that was a Notorious B.I.G. sweater. They had some stuff from Jay-Z, I think, from Tupac. So
Right. If you go all the way back to like blues and stuff, I mean, that's just about everything that's in modern day music.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
comes
they
from
had
that.
some. I think Ice Cube has already been inducted. It could also be that I think Dr. Dre was also in there too, maybe. So
What about like a Snoop Dogg?
I don't know. If not, I should have nominated him, because actually, what's another cool feature of the museum is with your wristband, you can like go to this kiosk, and type in an artist to nominate for your who you want to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So that's
Really?
kind of cool. Yeah.
Let's nominate ourselves. We'll be the first podcast nominated to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, all right.
25 years from now when we're killing it.
Right. I gotta.
Or,
then you know what? We would technically need to have more music on our pod. So let me write some cool riffs,
Yes.
and we'll just there we go. Because it's weird. They have a couple different categories for like people. They have one for like musical artists. They have one for like people behind the scenes in the studios or managers. Like basically, to me, it seems like anyone who has a significant enough contribution or influence on the music industry could in theory be voted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I
Right.
guess. Right.
So that's what I'm saying. We'll be the rock and roll of podcasts. We'll be
Right.
so big, and we'll change the game.
That's right.
That they'll be like, well, rock and roll, like this podcast has reinvented what rock and roll means.
The Rock and Pod Award.
The rock and
The
pod
Rock and
award.
Pod
I don't want
Award.
it anymore. That sounds
You-
stupid.
Well, you heard it here first, Jared. Oh my God, that's too funny.
So then the art. What's that? What kind of stuff does Cleveland? What kind of art do they get?
So one of the favorite pieces of art I saw there was they had some Asian and Islamic art. They actually had like a sarcophagus of a pharaoh, which was pretty sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Could you see actually the mummy form, or was
No,
it in the
no.
cask? Is that
I
the
feel-
sarcophagus? Is that what the cask is?
Yeah, it's just the cast,
Okay.
the cask or whatever. And
But there's a mummy in there, right?
It's open. It was open, so you
Oh.
could see the inside of it.
No mummy.
Because there was artwork on the inside of it too, dude. It was really cool.
Okay.
Well, see, Jared, if you had the mummy in there, then you're in the wrong museum, because it's an art museum, not like a history museum.
Right.
You gotta keep your types of museums.
Right. You know what?
clear.
Yep.
But yeah, so the Asian art was really cool. That was Egyptian. They had some other Islamic art. They had this really cool door that was like blue and it had Arabic written all over it. Kind of random.
Sorry,
but it
this
looked really
door
cool.
was
It
threw me
looks
off a
really.
little bit.
All right, hold up, bro. Here, I will show you the picture. I want you to describe it for our listeners. Because,
So what is your? Are you gonna send it to me?
No, I'm just gonna show it to you. I'm gonna.
Okay. Are you just
You
gonna hold it up? All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna be gangster like that and just hold.
What
it up
is
for
your like museum traveling habit? Because I don't handle. Okay, I'd call it more than just a door.
Well,
What
yeah,
does-
obviously.
it's
a
almost
door
it's
with, like-
including like the. Do you call the threshold?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. And then
It's
it's
beautiful, though,
blue.
isn't it?
It is beautiful,
And it
there's a
has
lot of
white
intricate
writing
designs
and
within it.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'd actually call that more of like a not a mural, but a not a.
Oh, dude. One other thing too.
Okay.
Would you call it a shrine? Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe a shrine.
It's hard to call it a shrine without anything in there. You know?
Right.
Like it's a shrine that someone ordered from Amazon.
Right.
But they're yet to fill it with like whatever it is. They're
All your
shrining
Amazon
out to.
Prime orders.
Right.
But yeah,
It's
the
in
other thing though I was fortunate enough to see also was the A Christmas Story house. You know the movie A Christmas Story, right?
The whole house.
Yeah, the house is in Cleveland, and they have it like there, and you can tour it and everything.
Why did you and your dad go on like the my first Cleveland trip tour?
Why did we?
Yeah. Wait.
We did. You got that right.
Can you walk into the house?
You can, but you gotta pay. So we're kind of cheapskates. So we didn't. It was one of those things where you just kind of say you could be there. You know what I mean?
Right. I just wanted to know if the leg was in there.
Oh yeah, dude.
Or
you can see it when you drive by.
Okay.
The leg lamppost is still there.
I assume they sold it.
And they have a gift shop, so you can buy. I saw they had an American flag one.
I mean, they probably
had a
have
rainbow
hundreds
one.
of those somewhere.
Oh yeah, and they were selling the BB gun that was in the movie too.
That was gonna be the next one.
Yep,
I
and
love
his
that
pink
Christmas
pajamas, the bunny pajamas.
They sell those.
Yeah, dude.
Take those to my next furry convention.
There you go.
Christmas Story was my go-to Christmas movie. I mean, TBS shoved it down our throats.
Oh, for sure, without a doubt.
Because they play it for 24 hours every Christmas,
Right.
and they still do.
Yep.
But that has always been my go-to Christmas story. I remember a couple of years ago, I watched that shit in July.
Nice.
But yeah, I hit my mic. But it's it's a great movie. But I don't know.
It is.
I mean, I would drive by the house, especially to see the leg.
Yeah, I mean it was just worth. Yeah, one of those things had to be there. But you had asked me earlier, Jared, why did my dad and I kind of go on this little road trip to check out Cleveland? I had a buddy of mine who I think in 4th or 5th grade went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and this was when I was starting to get really into music, and I didn't realize there was such a thing, and it blew my mind there was such a thing as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I had always wanted to go there. And since I'm in the Czech Republic, as you're hearing this, I figured it would be good to travel somewhere else in the States in case, I don't have the chance for a little while. So
wow, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Good choice. How was
it was a close drive. Yeah, 3 hours, dude. It was crazy though. On the way back, on Friday we came back. We drove and it poured, and we were behind a couple semi trucks. Everybody had their flashers on because it was pouring so hard.
Oh yeah.
So that was not ideal. Plus, I'm always a little paranoid. Like if you drive around in Ohio with Michigan plates, you go 5 over, they will pull you over.
That is true. Whenever I drive through Ohio, especially on the turnpike, I just set my cruise control to 70 or 75 maybe. If I'm really feeling frisky,
yeah, right, for sure.
And I'll just sit there because that is true. I don't know if it's I've never been pulled over in Ohio, but I've seen plenty of people pulled over there.
Oh yeah,
I've
been pulled over in Indiana, not Ohio.
There's been a lot of Ohio talk about how much we hate each other, but there always has been the what's the myth? Myth seems too much.
What myth?
Like that. If you have Michigan plates, you're way more likely to get pulled over in Ohio.
I feel like that myth has a little bit of truth to it. Stereotypes there is some truth to some stereotypes, Jared.
I guess
we talked about this.
Maybe because they assume that people are less likely to come back for court. So numbers wise, it just makes more sense.
Oh yeah, that's what I would
agree.
Say. I would agree.
I have no idea. Because I follow the law. Because I'm a good American.
You're a good citizen, yes, sir.
Right. Speaking of being a good citizen, I got my license renewed today.
Nice.
And I had to go to the DMV, the dreaded DMV.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went up to the thing, and I had something you call a camera card, which means you have to go to the line and get your picture taken, and they give you your ID.
Right.
And so I get there, and I say I'm renewing my license, and she tells me to fill out a form and go sit down. And I sat there for about 45 minutes, which was in my head I'm like, that's not that bad. And I went up there, and she's like, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, renewing my license. She's like, why are you in this line? And I was like, because that's what my ticket says. Because I had like a number. I was like, I'm F229. That's why I'm in this line. She's like, you have a camera card. You're already done. You just have to go to that line right there and get a picture taken.
Ah, that's funny.
And she's like, why would you come to this line? I was like, I told the lady I was renewing my license. What do you mean? Why? I understand it's a mistake, but why are you blaming me? Like, she was like, kept on asking why you. I was like, I don't know.
Customer is always wrong, Jared.
And so I went back there, and to the lady, and I was like, oh, I was told that I just need to go here, because she's like, oh, you have your camera card? Why did you tell me you were renewing your license? I was like, why didn't you tell me? I was like, I didn't. I didn't think about that. And then it was in and out in like 10 minutes. So I was in there for like an hour, but I really had to be there for like 10 minutes.
Nice.
So that's kind of on me, I guess. But it made me wonder if like those, because the DMV jokes at this point are cliche.
Oh, for sure.
And it did make me wonder as I was sitting there for 45 to 50 minutes if those jokes translated to other countries. Like, do they have the same thing? But I've never had to get a license in another country. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I feel like jokes about waiting places for sure would probably span different linguistic and cultural borders.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, I guess people are slow everywhere.
Right. Especially, I feel like bureaucracy can definitely take its merry time.
Especially the Italians.
Right. I feel like isn't the stereotype
I don't know why I said that. That was so mean.
Aren't there stereotypes though about like all sorts of different places where they're either like late or like they just like take their time?
Yeah.
One stereotype I like is like when there's a stereotype about a country where they take their time to enjoy their meal and like socialize a little.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that too. I'm a slow eater in general, so that suits my my style. And I like drinking copious amounts of wine.
You can't go wrong with that.
That also
that's for
suits
sure.
my style.
But I feel like too, it's just I always feel really rushed when I'm eating in the United States. I don't know if it's because I feel like I'm always busy or I always have something I should be doing. When I'm in Europe, although I still have stuff to do, I never like feel guilty, especially if I'm with like Germans or Austrians and we're like just hanging out and like talking and having some really good food and maybe a couple tasty little bierchens and
well, in general, the vibes in restaurants are completely different. Because in America,
that's true.
They expect to get more than one person into that table at that night. More than one person into that table that night.
Right.
But in Europe or most other places, but not even just Europe, there's I just know that the best. They just like it's more of a this is your table for the night rather than.
What was it like in Tanzania?
I never went to any legitimate restaurants.
Okay.
So I ate in the hotel, but that was not really a restaurant.
Okay.
And then I ate in the hotel. I ate at two different hotels. I ate in the hotel in the big city, which was a normal hotel, but still it was in a hotel, and so it was normal pace, a little slower, but normal pace. Slower in not slow, but more in the like the European they'd be used to slow.
Right.
But not slow or anything. And then the other hotel was like in the village, and that was not even really. That was although that was slower, that was not really. It's hard to compare that to like a normal restaurant.
Gotcha.
But I didn't go to many restaurants. But yeah, it was definitely. I mean, there was definitely not the same rushing attitude like you'd get in Applebee's, for example.
Right. Well,
where they put their check down without you asking. Right.
And then my favorite thing is they always say the same thing. No rush, or they say no hurry.
But the check's already been put down.
Right.
It's like, if you need anything else, let me know. It's like, well, you already put the check down. What do you mean if I need anything else?
That would be really funny. Just be like, yeah, actually, could I get another
I've
meal,
done that
please?
before.
Really? Okay.
I think I've probably been somewhere and like they've done that. I was like, do you want any dessert? As they're putting down the check. It's like, actually, I do. I'll take the carrot cake, please. Take that check back, too, while you're at it.
Right? Just order everything for dessert. I just be like, you know what? Actually, I think I'm going to stay here a couple more hours. If you could just...
Chicken nuggets, carrot cake, a filet mignon,
a salad,
some dessert wine, some red wine.
Or maybe a little, what do they call it, digestif?
Oh, yeah.
A little schnapps or something after your meal. Yeah. Ooh, grappa's pretty good.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
What's the difference between an aperitif and a digestif?
One's before the meal, one's after the meal.
Okay, so
one's supposed to help, like, I don't know, the initial, like, when you're eating. You know, that's why you have it before. I
believe what they call that would be that would be the aperitif.
Yeah.
The aperitif, I believe they'd call a palate cleanser.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's...
I'm not doing any research, so I could also just be pulling that out of my ass, but at the very least, it sounds good.
It does. I mean, it
rolls off the tongue cleanser,
too,
you know,
right?
just to have a baseline drunkenness and clear out the mouth a little bit.
Right. And then the digestive is to help you digest all your food.
Right. That's before you get to dessert and coffee. Finally, I think
That's
I got
true.
it. Sorry, there was
Oh,
this
nice.
mosquito
Fly in there?
flying around or something.
Ooh,
or
gotta
like a
get those
gnat
little
of some
buggers.
sort. And I think I got it. I can't tell.
You
but
definitely gotta
I
get
had
those
to
little
do that 'cause
buggers.
it was annoying me. It was just in my
Right.
face. Yeah. And then you have the coffee, and then some sort of cake or something. Or wait, which
Oh,
one's
man,
first,
delicious.
the cake or the coffee?
I mean, I feel like you get them at the same time, don't you?
I don't think so. I don't think
No?
so.
Maybe I just haven't been to as many classy establishments
Hey.
as you, Chart.
Report back.
I will. We'll have to
let
do
me
some
know.
on the road again. Dude, it'd be crazy to that you probably couldn't do that, but it'd be crazy to try to film a podcast or record a podcast in a coffee house or like a cafe.
We could do that.
Could we though? You don't think that like
We
have to do it probably I don't know.
The only thing we would have to do is it wouldn't take I mean the only thing it would take is our own bravery to sit in a cafe holding microphones.
True.
Because it's easy.
Right.
I mean, our setup is portable as hell. I just traveled to
true.
Louisiana and did it like it was no big deal,
Right.
and it sounded the exact same.
Right. Our only technical issues were Brad, which are good technical issues, I'd
Right,
say.
and he won't be there. Like although we would just see him like looking out the window from the bar in Czech Republic or a restaurant.
That'd be hilarious.
We could definitely do it. It would just be our own boldness. We'd have to sit in the corner somewhere
Right.
and
That'd
or
be
just
interesting. Yeah.
be proud.
I'm gonna have to seek out some places now and see. That'd be interesting.
We would have some ambiance.
Right.
We were here. Oh man, I don't have any like tinking noises.
Not the same ambiance as the good old cuckoo clock at Mom and Papa's Chad's house.
But don't worry, I got it. I got it.
Yes, good sir. And you know what time it is, Jared?
Yeah, I think I do. I just heard the cuckoo of the untranslatable cuckoo clock.
That's right, good sir. So I want you to get started today. I want to try to guess these, see if I can get some more hand
I went all
horns.
over the place. I found some.
Ooh,
I found
all right.
some fun translations.
Oh, nice.
Even less fun will be my butchering of various languages. The first one is Romanian,
Okay.
and the phrase is "Kababa si mitralira." Kababa si mitralira.
No idea.
And that literally means like an old lady with a machine gun.
Really? Like an old lady? Ooh, watch out.
Sonny, how do I work this thing? Grandma,
I'm not sure.
put that thing down.
What do you think?
What do I think? Well, I know what the answer is, Chad.
Well, Jared, give me that answer.
It's a person that or object that is massively unsuited for the job at hand. So that's why it's
that
like a
makes
grandma
sense.
holding
Yeah,
a
that makes
machine gun.
sense.
It's like you can't handle that big old thing.
That's true. Unless grandma's a trooper, then you never know.
Right, or unless your grandma's like 40, you know?
That's also true.
Which could happen.
It can. Absolutely. All right.
But I like that, like an old lady with a machine gun.
That is a good one.
That's another good one I could use.
You could totally pull that at work.
Johnson's
you see somebody,
like an old lady with a
right?
machine gun.
Right. Poor old Johnson. Like an
No,
old lady
not
with
poor
a machine
Johnson.
gun.
He's slowing us down.
Right.
Johnson, put that down.
Well, Jared, I sadly have two of them that actually were given to me by a good German friend of mine.
Why is that sad? Is your friend?
Well, because you will probably know what both these mean.
I'll give you. Your friend was like,
No, she's doing good. She is good. But I've been reaching out to some of my native speaker, foreign language speaker friends, Germans or a couple others in Spanish, and trying to get some of their own original untranslatables. And
nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
just because I've been doing some Googling and I've been finding a lot of the same ones. I don't want to be too predictable.
Brad. I can't. Right, this is not a habit we can get into. Chad's out here doing boots on the ground work. I like
That's
it.
right. Gotta do my best. You better believe I'm gonna get some good recordings of people in the Czech Republic saying these words properly, so I don't butcher the language.
Oh, by the way, let me know what you think of this.
Okay.
I considered making stickers that say Untranslatable Podcast on them and just walking around the city and sticking them on shit everywhere.
Oh my God. Good way to
But
win
that's
a lot
like
of
a
frenemies
financial
right there.
That's like a financial investment that it's like, I mean, I'll do it. But like, what if I do it? It's like, all right, I don't know. I'm not gonna do it anything. Like,
That's
I'm not gonna
some
do it in
serious
someone's,
boots
like,
on
car
the ground
window.
right there.
I'm not gonna do it in someone's car window. It'll be on like poles and stuff. It won't. I'm not gonna like, put it on someone's face or something.
I mean, that's where I would put them because they're literally a walking advertisement.
But I that has been floating through my head. Let me know what you think.
All right, we'll have to have an little untranslatable business meeting and go over some of these things. But Jared, I want to tell you this business meeting is important to me and is definitely not wurscht.
Oh, das ist wurscht.
Mir
I do know what
wurscht.
that one means.
I know
Das
you
ist
know
mir
what it means.
wurscht.
But it's from one of our listeners out there, a friend of mine. So can you explain to our audience what it means? Wurscht?
It is a good one. It is.
It's great.
Well, wurscht is just a different way of saying Wurst, which is sausage, or bratwurst or something like that, which is also sausage.
Mm-hmm.
And so what the phrase "Das ist mir Wurst" literally means is that is me sausage.
That is sausage to me. Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, I guess that would be the actual translation.
Yep.
That is sausage to me,
which
just means that doesn't matter.
Yep, or I don't care. Or,
right.
It doesn't matter to me. Do you know why that is, Jared? Can you give me
I have
an
no idea.
explanation?
I have no idea.
You don't have any guesses on why they say that?
That's just sausage to me. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Is it just because it's generic? Like it's nothing special?
Yeah, it's because sausage is such a staple, I feel like, in traditional German and Austrian diets,
So it's almost similar to the Italian one where it's I know my chickens or something like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like chicken is such a staple of our diet.
Right, that you know how to
it's just
exactly.
it's don't question me, it's obvious. But that's different. Although that saying's different.
It has a different meaning.
That saying means it's obvious. But
right.
The German one means it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because it's such a regularity. Yeah, I mean the amount of times I love getting my Wurst at the good old Wurstelstand right on the side of the street. Usually back in the day I was getting, I could get a brat or, a currywurst or something else and it would be 2 to 3 euros, pretty cheap usually.
We talked about drunchies a while ago.
Did we bring those up?
No, I believe briefly, but I don't know if we. But what is a Czech drunchie that's not that don't anything? Is there anything savory
in the Czech Republic?
Yeah.
Like kind of like doner, or what do you mean?
Well, yeah. Something that's not like a sweet desserty kind of drunchie.
Oh yeah, I mean they have well, I don't know what they do for street food yet, but let me do my homework. I need about 3 to 4 months of research, Jared,
Boots
on
the
this.
ground. Boots on the ground.
So I hope you're taking notes on that. So I'll do some research. We'll definitely have to do an updated drunchies list at some point. That's for sure. But yeah, so that's my first untranslatable for you. Wurscht. I knew you knew it, so that's why I prefaced it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so just for everyone else out there, feel free, please send us some of your good untranslatables. We'd love to share them on our podcast.
By the way, I just typed in Czech street food into Google Images.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to like sausages as well.
Nice. I'll have to find out if they have a similar phrase in Czech. Maybe they do. We'll have to find out.
Yeah. Well, you're going to be a polyglot soon, so we'll get to that.
That is true.
I got
Slowly
another
but surely.
Romanian one for you.
Ooh, all right.
This one also paints quite the picture. Si-a-dat cu Tesla în coie.
Okay, what do those words mean individually?
Might have fucked up that last word.
Uh-oh.
That second word, the first word,
watch
third,
out.
fourth word.
All of them.
Hit your own testicles with a claw hammer.
Oh dear Lord! Wow. So is this like you're not like you're adding insult to injury, but like you're shooting your own foot, or you know what I mean? Like you're
shooting yourself in the foot.
Okay. Yep. I thought we had a similar. Okay.
It's just a more aggressive way of saying shooting yourself in the foot. Okay.
Oh shit.
Here's I have a would you rather for you.
Okay.
Would you rather shoot yourself in the foot with just your standard, let's say,
like a 22?
Yes, 22. Okay. So it's gonna go through, but it's not gonna like blow your foot off.
Okay. Ooh.
Or would you rather
testicles in the claw hammer? Is that where you
hit yourself with? Yeah, of course.
Oh. Probably shooting myself in the foot.
I agree.
Well, wait. Here's the thing, though. That idiom doesn't say how hard you have to hit your testicles. So in theory, couldn't I just tap them?
No. See, that's of
can't
course.
cheat
Yeah,
like
this
that.
is not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't cheat like that.
What's
Damn.
the point of this whole "would you rather" if it's
That's
like
true.
all you have to do is just graze?
Right. Well, see, I say that because I saw this funny post online where somebody said, "Would you basically stomp on this dog for $1 million?" This guy was like,
I'll stomp on my neighbor's dog for free.
well, he also attacked you, so that was a traumatic experience, Jared. But so, and this guy said, "Well, y'all never said how hard I had to stomp on him, so I'm gonna tap him right on the head and give the little homie, like $1,000."
Yeah. See, that's
Just cheating.
That's not how I. Play
Nope,
my
I'm gonna
games.
shoot myself in the foot, Jared. Which one would you?
You know what I
rather
would do? I
What?
would shoot myself in the foot, but I would grow out my big toenail for a couple months, and then shoot that. That's my
Okay.
That's
Ooh,
my loophole.
that's
By the
your
way,
loophole.
I didn't kill
Okay.
the bug. It's really annoying me.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
You realize after you kill it, you gotta hit that ham horn.
I know, but
Well-
I thought I killed it before.
While you're focusing on that, Jared, I'm gonna give you another German one that
Give
I
me
think
another
you know.
one before I hit myself in the testicles with the
Well,
claw.
Jared, don't be a Vici. That's all I have to say.
Say that again.
Don't be a Vici.
Okay, so I is egg.
And Vici.
Vice. Poached egg.
Like your pillow can be Vici.
Your pillow can be Vice.
Teddy bears are Vici.
Soft.
There you go.
Don't be a soft egg. Don't be boring. Don't be a Buzz
No-
Killington.
Not a Buzz Killington. More like just don't be a wimp. Don't be so soft.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy a hard-boiled egg because I'm a hard-boiled man.
That's true. So does that mean just because I like soft-boiled eggs, I'm a soft-boiled man? Is that what that means?
No,
Jared?
I actually think people that like hard-boiled eggs are more soft-boiled people.
Could be. That tends to be the case, I feel like,
I gotta
have-
fix my mic. I'm sorry, I hate to do this.
You're
but
good.
I'm gonna make some noise.
You
but
have
it's
to.
bothering me.
I feel like though you have to. If you have that hard egg exterior, it's usually because you're a softie inside. You know. Does that
I am
make
a softie inside.
I think we both are.
I give off this rough and tumble exterior, but you can hug me. Actually, I take that back. Don't hug me.
Don't hug me.
So my next one is Spanish, specifically from Cuba,
Ooh.
specifically originating from the Caribbean. Chupar al rabo a la utilla. Chupar el rabo a la
Rabo.
utio. I can't utilla. Excuse me. I can't do the rolling of the R.
Can you tell me what the words mean?
To suck on the tail of a rodent.
Ooh, it's giving me lots of pretty imagery. Oh man, to suck on the tail of rodents. I don't
It's
know.
a simple phrase.
Okay. Is that when you're like? Is it like when you're like kind of kissing up or no? Like no, I don't know. I have no idea.
All it means is to get drunk, or someone that loves to drink, someone that loves to suck on the tail of a rodent.
Really?
Or this person's really sucking on the tail of this rodent.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, sucking on the tail of the rodent.
Well,
That's gross.
I got only one more for you, Jared.
Okay.
It's Japanese, and it is
Hi.
boketo.
Boketo. I don't know, but I always like when I hear the Japanese ones because they're short.
Right? But they say so much with so
I know.
little.
I know.
Which is really great.
So let me guess then. Boketo would then mean.
Let me see if. Hold up. Sorry, I didn't have my usual 3 to 4 months of research.
One's realization that time is a mere construct and life is greater than any.
Did you
one
just Google
person.
it?
No, I did not. We were just joking about how the Japanese ones always.
Wow, dude, there are a lot of untranslatables on Urban Dictionary. I know we joke about this, but
Other language ones?
yeah, I just looked this up, and
I never look for untranslatables on Urban Dictionary.
I'm aware, but I typed it in to try to find more information.
What'd you type in?
about it.
Untranslatable?
No, I typed in boketo.
Oh.
It's sadly, see, that's the problem with some of these though, is like when you have like a phrase in a word instead of like certain number of phrases to make like an idiom, it's harder because you have to guess what this one thing means. But here, let me tell you. Let me tell you what Urban Dictionary says, Jared. Well, do you have any more guesses before I tell you?
I thought my first guess was pretty good.
Wasn't bad, but it means to gaze vacantly into the distance without thinking.
Okay. You know that stare where people are like, "What are you staring at?" And you're like, "I don't even know."
Right. Sometimes I do that though when I'm really getting in my head. Like if I'm like thinking about a lot of stuff, I'll just kind of zone out.
It kind of feels good sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bocchetto can be pretty nice, I would say.
Yeah.
And let me just read you oh my God.
Urban Dictionary, everyone.
Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to read you the example sentence. I'm going to give you
Can I take a guess?
Sure. Go ahead.
Does it involve fellatio?
Well, kind of. Let me just say it was posted in December 10th, 2015 by a guy or girl named Wimpy, who goes by Wimpy Masochist.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, okay. You wrote it.
Wimpy Masochist. That's one of my many pseudonyms online.
Right.
Wimpy Masochist. Okay.
So, all right. Well,
Wimpy Masochist sounds like they're into some fun times.
They are, and I'll read it to you now, I guess, even though I said I wouldn't. Here it says the D left her in Bocchetto for many hours. It's pretty funny. Pretty funny.
It is pretty funny.
I feel like, why do you use that? I feel like you could use so many, you could use so many other definitions, but of course that's what somebody writes.
Of course. It's Urban Dictionary.
Right.
Of course it goes straight to the D.
Who actually goes on there and like writes these things? Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I more imagine someone actually saying that to their friends. Man,
Right?
I left this girl in Bocchetto.
You're gonna have to use.
She's still just sitting on my sofa right now, staring into the distance.
Right.
It's been 3 days.
You're gonna have to use that in the future.
It's like in Harry Potter where they're in that. Was it the first one where they're frozen?
I have no idea. I'm the wrong dude to ask about Harry Potter.
I'm not really a Harry Potter fan either. So yell at us for that, people, because I'm sure everyone that's listening to this probably is.
Right. You got any more untranslatables for me today, Jay?
Yeah, I got one more. This one's gonna be another tough one to say.
Okay.
Slon. Oh, it's Polish. Slon nastapil sina uchuo. Slon nastapil sina uchuo. I tried to add my own little flair to it, but I think I fucked it up regardless.
Man, you should have told me you had a Polish one. I got some Polish friends. I could have.
That's true.
But well, what do the words mean?
Did an elephant stomp on your ear? Did an elephant stomp on your ear?
Can you give me like an example? You gave some solid examples on one of our last episodes, so I'm trying to test you a little bit.
You know, everyone's been talking about Aretha Franklin's passing. Pour some out. That's obviously still sad.
Sure.
We gave a tribute on last episode, but still sad. Tribute. It wasn't a tribute. We just said
Hey,
but anyway,
she was well worth the discussion. Anyways,
everyone's talking about Aretha Franklin's passing, but I think the real queen of soul is Taylor Swift. Whoa. Did an elephant just stomp on your ear?
Okay. So that means, like, are you crazy?
A little bit more specific. It means having no ear for music.
Oh, ooh, I like that. Having no ear for music. Okay.
We all know what that means, by the way. By the way, say goodbye, because that's quickly going away. That's an authentic untranslatable right there.
Does it actually pick up in the recording?
I can hear it.
Okay. Either way, you got that.
If I can hear it, I think the people can hear it.
I hope they do. Yes, to all our listeners out there, this will be the last untranslatable recorded at the Papa and Mama Chad pad. So
yeah.
Shout out to them for letting me record it here. Appreciate it.
You're now in. It's crazy. I mean, in the space-time continuum, you're currently in Czech Republic.
It is. It's wild. You know, just sitting here on the 9th floor looking out at the mountains, and it's pretty great, man. I can't complain.
You're gonna be on about day 4 at that point, and you're still gonna be in that early period where you're terrified every time you go to try to speak to people.
Oh, that's
because
true.
You're still gonna barely know shit.
Right, but there are some tips and tricks that you can use to get over those feelings.
That's true. That's true. First of all, what have you been using personally? Because you're how prepared? What level do you think you're at right now as far as your Czech goes?
Oh man, well first of all,
I mean level. It's still beginner, I'm sure.
Well, for sure, without a doubt. But first of all, I'm gonna back that up, Jared, and just recap for all of our listeners out there.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping the gun.
Oh, you're good. It's been that kind of day, man. Jumping the gun all over the place. But that's another story for another time. Anyways, so our episode today is focused on the tips and tricks to learn another language. And as Jared just mentioned, I, have been dealing with trying to use my very limited Czech vocabulary to do all sorts of just basic survival things, right? You need to go to the grocery store. Maybe you don't know where something is.
Order a liquid bread every now and again somewhere.
Exactly. The Czech Republic is a great place for some high-quality liquid bread. I can tell you that much, my friend.
Exactly.
But some of the tips and tricks, well, I'm lucky enough that right now I am immersed in the language and the culture, right? So I have a lot of opportunities for input, which is actually my first tip for everyone out there.
How are
listening.
you immersed in the language?
Well, basically, wherever I am, if I turn on a TV, unless I'm watching BBC for some reason, the language on the television will be Czech.
Oh, you mean once you're there? I thought you meant right now.
Well, I am there, Jared. So what can I say?
Right.
But
this space-time continuum is really throwing me off.
It's difficult, man. It really is.
How's the weather? Well, how is the weather actually?
It's good. It's this summer has been one of the hottest summers that they've had in the Czech Republic.
Well, that's because the world's ending in general. But
true.
That's
mean,
another
of course.
episode.
Hey, we're here for a good time, not for a long time, right? Isn't that what they say? But yeah, anyways, my first tip is get lots of input. And what I mean by input is just hearing, seeing, reading the language in any chance you have, right? So, and that's why I think both of our German skills are fairly good, is because of our opportunities we've had in the past, living in Germany, living in Austria. I gotta admit, it took me a minute to adjust to Austrian German when we went to Vienna.
Yeah, but I think also it didn't take that long. I mean, it took me a minute too. Like the first night we were there, one, it had been a while since we'd spoken in German to actual German people.
Right.
And two, we had never experienced that dialect before.
Right.
So there were two things working against us.
Oh, yeah.
But I think we also very quickly picked it up.
Well,
and it became very natural.
It did, but excuse me. But to be honest, it took me almost a month, I would say, to really be able to understand it, and also not only understand it, but kind of see what they were doing with the language. You know what I mean? Like, I love the fact that in Austrian German you can drop, like if you say ich, Austrians can just say I.
I didn't even know that.
Real? Oh man. Yeah. So, for example, the most famous Austrian and also Bavarian sentence I think is "Ich mag dich," I like you, and Austrians and Bavarians say "Ich mag dich."
Okay. Yeah, I actually have heard it. What do you?
Like you'll see that on like the Lebkuchenherzen, the like gingerbread hearts they sell for like Oktoberfest. You'll see that written on them and stuff. So yeah, that's my first tip though. is input everywhere.
Right. So what are some of your personal favorite go-to inputs?
I think it would be inputs, but usually my favorite.
Inputs.
Well, what do you think my favorite is, Jared? You know me pretty well. What
pornography? No, I'm kidding. Music.
Yes, most likely music.
Have you listened to any Czech music?
I have. Thank Spotify for that, because I found quite a few different Czech playlists. We'll definitely
right.
feature some as songs of our pod, but sadly today we have another German one for you all, not a Czech one.
Okay. Well, I have
We're a
something
little
to say
biased
we'll,
for German.
We'll talk about that when we get to the song of the pod.
Right.
Podcast is another good one, like Untranslatable Podcast for anyone trying to become a polyglot.
Yes, sir. That's
the good
very
thing
true.
about the Untranslatable Podcast is everyone in the world can listen to it because it's not just for learning a specific language.
Right. It's
we'll
just
turn
sharing
people into polyglots.
Right. We're just trying to share the beauties of languages all over the world. That is for sure. But yeah, so if you want to learn any of those beautiful languages around the world, the first thing I would tell you is you need to expose yourself to it in any way possible. So if you're not living in the country, because sadly not all of us have the opportunity to just, up and go somewhere for a year or a couple weeks or a month.
We're not
or
all
however
as
long.
lucky as Chad.
That's true. What can I say? I am lucky, but you gotta work hard too, I think. But anyways,
No, you earned it.
But the other thing too with input is, my other tip for you is it also has to be somewhat comprehensible input. So what I mean is, if you in theory were to just drop somebody, in a country where they didn't know any of the language, I guarantee you they could pick up some words here and there based on context, but they couldn't just turn on a TV maybe, or maybe a better example is they couldn't listen to a radio, something on the radio or even a podcast and be able to follow along if they have no language knowledge whatsoever of the language.
Right.
So you need to have a little bit of a basis. Yeah.
I'm someone that, as we've said, I speak German pretty well, but I'm by no means fluent. And I like to listen to podcasts every now and again. There's one that I used to like, but I lost it, and I can't remember what the name of it was. But then I also I read books every now and again. I keep a couple by my bed.
Oh, nice.
Two of them you'll recognize because you gave them to me.
Oh, nice.
This one.
Oh, that's a good one. Yep. Die Räuber, Friedrich
yes.
Schiller. That's a
And then
classiker.
this one. What's that? Say?
Oh, Urfaust. Yeah.
Yes.
Very nice.
By Goethe. And then I also have this one, which is a collection of short stories. But this is actually
nice.
a British dude.
Okay.
But they're in German.
Nice.
And what I like at least about my level is that I'm consistently nervous that I'm gonna lose a German because I never use them. So at the very least, what I like to do is I keep those by my bed, and even though I don't I don't have to know every word to at least just read it and keep it in my head. I think, but I think I'm also at where I can at least understand context a little better. But I think that's. It is always a lot about consistency and just keeping inputs going in your head, and that's literally what I'm doing is the minimum that you can do.
Right.
But it does give me some peace of mind to at least make me.
And a minimum's better than nothing.
That's true.
I guess my second tip would be kind of piggybacking on what you mentioned with consistency. I think you need to use the language every day. And have the language have some use in your life. What I mean by that is, if you want to just learn something because it's cool, that's great. And you might be able to learn some basic stuff, but I think to really keep you going to the point where you can really become fluent, you have to really invest a lot of time and effort in it. And that doesn't mean that you have to spend hours upon hours every day doing it, but maybe even 10 to 15 minutes every day. Just watch a couple little YouTube videos, listen to a couple songs, read, 10, 20 pages out of a book. Anything that can get you to try to, I think your mind needs to be thinking or using the language, processing the language for you to improve. And that's just, one really important thing, I think, for anyone who's interested in learning another language.
I found an article, and it was 24 polyglot experts giving 2 of their top tips for learning a new language.
Ooh, let's hear
and
some of these.
This one dude, he's expert number 4, John Fotheringham. John Fotheringham says, spend most of your time in the language, not learning about the language. We acquire languages at a subconscious level when we get sufficient input in practice. So I think that recapped
everything.
Yeah, it just rounds out what you were saying, where it's like it's just all about having a lot of inputs in there. Another one that I found interesting that I never really thought about was expert number 9, Martin Burma. He said, practice new sounds early. Bad pronunciation can make you feel unconfident and keep you from speaking, even if your grammar is perfect.
I would agree with that. And some language programs nowadays are being, I can't think of any right off the top of my head, but some of them are being designed to teach you the sounds really before you do anything else, which I think some language classes naturally do with like learning the alphabet and things like that. But I feel like the alphabet is one thing and then the actual sounds of a language are another, right? Because
For sure.
we have A in English, but you can pronounce A in so many different ways. Or
right.
O
the alphabet
or E.
doesn't really,
right.
Yeah. The alphabet, or, the alphabet doesn't really do letters any justice.
Right.
But, yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think are people more susceptible to being good at pronouncing things than other people? Like, or is it just how like different people's mouths are used to make like our? Because I do know there's something to that.
Right.
People's mouths are used to different formations based off of the language that they grew up with.
Right.
And so, like, I can't roll my R's, for example. That was okay.
I try. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Jared. And that's why I actually tell my English students, as goofy as it sounds, if they have words that they have a difficult time pronouncing, I will pronounce it a couple of times and I will tell them, look at my mouth. It feels kind of weird saying that to your students, but it helps. And I tell them when they try to make the sounds, they need to exaggerate it because your mouths aren't used to making those sounds, right?
Right.
So, I had one student who, one of the most difficult words for him was the word barrel. Because of the R and then the L sound, right?
Barrel.
And it would usually end up either being bearer, right. And so I had to really pronounce it for him slowly and show him where your tongue ends up for the L and everything else.
Barrel.
Exactly.
Yeah, that could be a tough one.
Right. So that's another thing. I think pronunciation. The other thing, and I don't know if there's any research that has backed this, but I do think it is important to listen to native speakers. I don't think it's bad if you're learning a language to speak with non-native speakers. For many people, it's the students in their language classes, which I totally understand. And you need to speak the language as well in order to learn it and improve and build confidence to use it. But at the same time, I think it's very important to listen to some native speakers because you really hear them pronouncing everything. But I also have to admit
it's hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard to find a native speaker of any language that is used to and comfortable speaking at a speed that you would understand, though. You know what I mean?
Which is why you need to listen to it.
Because to them, they have to speak weirdly slow.
Right. Well, I jokingly tell people when people ask me, "Well, how do you teach English to international students who don't speak English?" Right, because it's not like I speak Mandarin or Portuguese or any other language, of students that I've had.
Right.
I wish I could.
Give it a couple more episodes.
Right. Yeah. Give me like 10 or 15 more episodes, and we'll be Gucci. But yeah. So what'll happen though is, I speak very slowly and very clearly, and try to really over enunciate things so they can really hear it.
Do you repeat stuff a lot?
I try to repeat things and also repeat them different ways, right? Because if you keep saying the same thing over and over, they may not understand it. But if you say it in a different way, and sometimes you say it in ways that, like, you almost kind of sound like a caveman. But we jokingly, my colleagues and I, we jokingly will call that teacher English or even teacher Deutsch. Like if you're speaking German in German 101, and you expect to have 90% of the class in German, spoken, because they'll ask questions in English and you can't explain grammar concepts to them in English. They won't understand it because it's really abstract. But if you think about the different things for, trying to just speak to students, so once again they get that input, right? Mm-hmm. So you do that for English as well. So
I gotcha.
But it's important to listen to people who do talk at a faster rate. I think the craziest thing is hearing listening exercises for Spanish because they talk so fast. I feel like Spanish native speakers.
So let me ask you this, Chad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know any frequently used phrases in Czech?
Not well, just your basics right now, to be honest. So like, how to say hello, how to say thank you, please. Please is prosim.
Do you have to roll the
Prosim.
R? There is a lot of R rolling.
Yeah, I think there is some R rolling in Czech.
Prosim.
I don't think it's like that, but it's just a quick little prosim.
Yeah, but I can't do it quickly. I don't know. I
Prosim.
don't know how to do it quickly.
I'll teach you
I
another
have to
time.
get it going like an old car.
Right.
You gotta rev the gas a little bit.
Right. Prosim. And then depending on the situation, so Czech is like German that has a formal and informal. So like jak się masz is how are you informal, and jak się
Isn't that what Borat says?
He might say that. Oh my god. But
Isn't that what he says?
But you know what's
Jak się masz?
He might, but you know what's funny is depending on no, that movie's too far. I think it's based in Kazakhstan, right? Technically, or so that's probably too far east because the Czech Republic's in Central Europe. So, but a lot of those languages have similarities. Like I was telling you the other day, I had a student in one of my ESL classes from the Ukraine, and she was teaching me some of the greetings in Ukraine. And Dobry den was good day. Dobry večer was, I believe, like good evening or good afternoon. Are we gonna get in trouble? Are we gonna get in trouble?
Were we?
We're playing that? Oh my god, he does say that. Okay, holy shit. Okay, wow.
Jak się masz?
Okay, interesting. But yeah, so that's how are you informal, and jak se mate is how are you formal. You're talking to a boss or someone of a higher status than you.
Yeah, see? Stupid movies like that are educational.
Right. That's another one of my tips, though, Jared, is trying to learn about some of the cultural subtleties and nuances of a language before you get somewhere.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So if you can learn, I think it's always important to learn things like please and thank you, how much,
How do you say how much?
Oh, I knew you were going to do this to me.
I mean, you said it.
Yeah, I have all these written down. I'm cheating a little bit. I have them like
where do you have them written down?
In my notes, just on my phone. But then if my phone dies, I'm going to be real SOL. Let's see here. One second. I can't find the phone.
I'm going to figure it out before you on my phone.
Uh-oh.
This is a real
this is a race
test.
here. I think it's like 1 second. No.
Our one Czech listeners just screaming into their phone right now.
Oh no.
It's jak się masz, god damn it.
Okay. Oh come on.
All right, I can't find it.
I'm looking for it. 1 second. I'm having some difficulty with it too.
Oh, all right.
So Jared asked me.
Not even worth it anymore.
Jared asked me how to say how much. Oh, hold up. I'll find it. I will find it. So here, like I said though, jak się masz, jak se mate is formal, informal. Also, mluvite anglicky is do you speak English? By the way.
Okay, that's definitely a good one to know.
How are you? Yep. Okay. Man, there are so many of these. 1 second. Yeah, kolik je to, or kolik to stojí.
Alrighty.
Kolik je to, which is how much is it, I believe, and kolik to stojí is how much is this? Maybe I'll have to look and see.
Well,
see, this is the bad thing
glad
about.
That you have,
what?
I'm glad you have that though, because expert number 3, Teddy Nee, says it's not just about learning from the books; it's also about learning popular phrases that you're going to be using on a day-to-day basis and get those down.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's
what were you about to say?
That's the thing. My other tip was try to find some type of language app or something to keep you using the language kind of in an interactive way, right?
How do you feel about Duolingo?
So I'm very glad you asked me that, Jared, because I was just going to talk about it regardless. Basically, my thoughts on Duolingo are I think it's somewhat useful for vocabulary, but there's a lot of random phrases on Duolingo that I feel like I won't need to use. And I wish, for example, like, kolikieto or kolik are important phrases to know in Czech that like should have been covered early on. I can tell you my experience with Duolingo and Czech. I've learned some basic stuff, very, very basic, like I said, like greetings and things.
Jak się masz?
Right, exactly. It's actually jak se masz.
Jak se masz?
Yeah, a little different, but I don't know. The difficulty with certain languages is, I think if you learn a couple languages that are similar to your mother tongue, there are a lot of cognates, right? And I'm not getting the feeling that there will be a ton of cognates in Czech. I think
that is another.
Go ahead.
I was about to say that is another tip, though.
Oh,
Learn
nice.
the cognates.
Okay.
Learn the words that are that you just know already. You don't even realize you know. Remind the people what a cognate is, because I forgot when I was reading that tip.
Cognates are basically a word in one language that is very similar to a word in another language. So you have like house and house is English and German for the word house, meaning a place where you live. All sorts of different ones. But then you also have your false cognates like gift and gift. Gift in German means poison, and gift in English means like to give a present. So yeah,
that's a cognate for some of the presents I give, though.
That's true. Watch out. That's why I'm always very skeptical with Jared's
hey,
gifts.
Chad, drink that. No, drink it. No, it doesn't smell weird. Drink it.
I always make Jared drink it with me, and I have to make sure. Yeah, you gotta be careful.
I pull
Jared.
one of those Princess Diary switcheroos.
Ooh, watch out. That's right. But yeah, so anyways, with Duolingo, I think there are definitely things you can learn from using language apps. I've also used Babbel for Spanish, and I actually can tell you I would maybe even recommend Babbel over Duolingo just because to me it was more contextually based.
Okay.
Whereas Duolingo it's pretty sweet, dude. You should check it out.
Okay.
Sadly, they don't have Czech. They need to get Czech on Babbel. I would love if they did. So if anybody out there from Babbel is listening, please put some Czech on your website for us to learn from. But yeah,
please. I need a good app because I tried Duolingo for German, but it was too easy. I just felt like I was wasting my time.
Right. That's true.
Like it was like, how are you?
Right. And that's the other thing. With Babbel, you can like change levels. And you can.
Okay.
It's not like you have to go and unlock.
I'll download Babbel.
I look at Duolingo kind of like it's almost like a language game. And I think Babbel was more like I had to read sentences, and I would read and hear the sentences together. I would have to then like fill in blanks and write sentences. I think any time where you can hear the language a lot while also reading it is really helpful to understand how to make the sounds and how people of that language and culture view the sounds that are used in the alphabet to make those, right?
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yes. Another one I have that I struggle with, and I'm sure a lot of people struggle with, is you have to be willing to make mistakes.
Oh, definitely.
A lot of people, including me, I think will probably even revert to their English or whatever their native languages if they can. I guess English people that speak English have the privilege of just assuming that you can revert to that, and people
which
will
is
get
an
what you're
unfair
saying.
assumption, might I add, though.
Right, that no one else would have.
Right.
But but I think you have to be willing to make mistakes, especially because what I always like to remind myself is when I'm speaking English to people that aren't native speakers, like I don't like freak out or make fun of them if they make mistakes, especially when I know what they're saying. It's like, we're gonna keep this conversation moving. I know what you're saying, so that's what I have to try to remind myself. Where it's like they know that I'm not a native speaker, but if they know what I'm saying, then that's really all that matters. And I'm not saying something ridiculous and they're like laughing when I'm like, oh, that's not what you were trying to say at all.
But I have to admit, if you do make a mistake and it does come off for whatever reason funny in another language, it also, I think you can't be too self-critical. You have to be,
if they start laughing, you have to be able to laugh at yourself.
Right. And I think it opens a good opportunity for like a learnable or a learning moment, where you
don't
can
embarrass yourself.
Right? Like it's just, I feel like when you have something where you make a little mistake and then people laugh and you get a reaction out of them. Like, I would want to know, why are they laughing? Like, what?
Of course.
Like,
yeah.
like a friend of mine told me she was in Spain, and I don't know what the word is, but she went to order an ice cream cone, and I guess there's a word in Spanish for ice cream cone or ice cream, and a word for the female genitalia, which are very close depending on if you pronounce one. Or I can tell you, like anos and años would be years or anuses. So pronunciation
Is it just
can be
dependent
key.
on the little shaky
The little
thing over
enye,
the
yeah,
end?
the enye,
Is that what you call it?
the
Enye?
squiggle. Well, that's what you call the letter, I think. Yeah, enye.
Right. I call it a little shaky thing over the end.
That's like how in German,
Little
in
enye.
German they call an S set. Well, the Austrians call it a scharfes S, a spicy S.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah, dude,
Oh,
you
that's
didn't
so
know
much
that?
better.
I love that. Yeah,
No.
scharfes S.
Oh, that's so much better than
That's
the
way
S-set.
cooler, isn't it? Yeah, S-set or the scharfes S. For sure, dude. It is way better.
I can't believe I just figured that out.
I got all. We should do an Austrian German episode, dude, because I got lots of
Okay.
Austrian things I could share with you. But
Yeah, let's do it.
But yeah. So, anyways, that's a good tip, though. Definitely, Jared. You gotta be able to laugh at yourself and not be worried to make mistakes.
I struggle with that.
Well, that's how I think I really improved my German, because I didn't really care. I knew I was going to sound like an idiot because I just didn't have all the vocabulary at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. You're a brave man.
I
You're a
try to be.
brave man.
But also, another thing I've noticed and experienced when trying to speak a foreign language abroad, you also have to be persistent, because I think a lot of people, they notice you have an accent or you might be struggling to say what you need to say, and it might be faster and easier for them to just tell you in English. Like, I'm
Yes.
aware of that. But sometimes you just got to be persistent. You know, I would always try to be very persistent when I lived in Vienna and only speak German when I was out. And usually it might take me, a minute to get out what I needed to say, but usually I could tell them what I needed,
By the way, this just in, Chad's got a fresh new haircut, I just noticed.
Oh, thank you. Yes, sir.
I just
Actually, I got it
noticed
a
that.
while ago, but shout out to Barbara Love in Lansing. They do a killer job, man.
Wow. Well, their place is gonna have a line out the
be
door
hopping.
on Thursday.
That's right. Gotta do what you gotta do.
Let's see. Do you have any other ones? What other tips? What are some other tips that
Well, here, can I
that
ask
you've
you?
tried to employ?
Well,
Sure.
first, I want to ask you some, and I want you to tell me whether or not they would be helpful for you to learn language.
Okay.
Buying an extensive grammar book all about the language. You think that's good or bad for language learning?
Not for self-guided. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not good at like keeping up with that kind of stuff.
You're not a grammar
on my
nerd?
own. Definitely not a grammar nerd. No.
Okay.
But I if you have a teacher or if you're in some sort of school,
Mm-hmm.
then yes, I would say so. But personally, that would not be what I would go to.
Well,
Which is,
go ahead.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, this is my one thing. I would say, first of all, it depends on why you're learning the language, right? So if you're just learning it for reading and writing purposes, I would say for sure grab that grammar book.
Yes.
But like in my case, I'm in the Czech Republic. I'm not going to be, it's not like when I'm out on the street and I make a mistake, I'm going to stop somebody and be like, "Oh, can you tell me the grammatical reason why, you know what I mean? Why that sentence is
and
wrong?"
for your
Like,
job or whatever, or you're not being evaluated on your Czech skills at all.
no, and actually it's more or less, I mean, it is expected I speak English. That's why
yeah,
I'm
right.
there.
You're an English teacher, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm there. So I'm there to speak English, but I am also here I want to learn about the Czech language and Czech culture. It's really fascinating. I mean, the fact that the country has only been an independent country since I believe 1993 is pretty amazing if you think about
yeah.
it. Obviously it
Yeah.
has a far longer history than that, but yeah, so you just have to be persistent. So I'll have to keep being persistent with my Czech. And hopefully I don't frustrate too many people with my broken Czech.
No.
But I'll be
you
trying
won't.
my best, which I think is another important tip.
Chad has a winning smile.
What I try. What can I say?
That'll get him out of any sort of tizzy, tuzzle,
Tizzy,
Tazzy?
Tizzy, I'd say. I would like to actually argue it's not the smile, it's the beard, but that's another conversation for
You
another
think
time.
so? The beard is very diffusing.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think another very good one is news.
Okay. Why is that?
One, you're staying up to date with what's happening within whatever the languages that you're talking about, and it's an easy one to read. I think not easy to read. Excuse me, it's not easy to read, but it's a consistent form of data to read.
Oh, definitely.
Data. Ooh.
That's the question. It is consistent, and I feel like that's actually one thing one of my professors in graduate school would always stress is you want to read different genres of literature, and different types of media, right? Whether it's news. I think Twitter and social media is actually really insightful for like learning about languages and culture.
Do you follow any Czech?
Oh yeah.
Do you really?
Oh yeah, dude. My Instagram has all sorts of like Czech stuff.
Like what? Czech.
Like I have the
women?
Thirst
traps.
I have. I'm sure they have those on Instagram, but I've been looking more for
I'm sure they do.
The cities. So I have like a hashtag Prague, hashtag Karlovy Vary, all sorts.
I'm not a
different
huge
ones.
fan of following hashtags.
Okay. Well, see, I do it just to see what they post, and some of them you can cheat and you can see the translation. So I like to kind of do that, and I click back and forth. So I've learned some like random stuff, but
how did they say cool in Czech?
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot, and I'm just gonna fail. I'll have to get back to you.
Oh my gosh. I mean, to be fair,
I mean, Dobsha is good.
I'm asking you like you speak the language,
and I don't really, not yet. I would say I'm a very low beginner, like extremely low.
According to Google Translate, it's Schladny. Do you want me to plug it in and just play it for you?
Yeah,
real quick?
Play it for me. I'm curious.
It's on my computer, so I gotta do.
All right, let's hear this. I feel like the difficulty with the pronunciation for any language is trying to get not only the sounds right, but the intonation and the stress.
All right, shut up real quick.
Let's hear it.
Hold on, I might have to turn this up. How's that?
Good. Go for it.
Chladný.
Chladný, huh?
Chladný.
Okay.
Chladný.
Interesting.
There you go.
See what I mean, though? That like that's not even close to anything in English.
No.
So
and like that's why I had to play it, because when I just look at it, I was like, that I couldn't even. I don't even know where to begin on pronouncing that.
Right.
I don't know how they roll over there.
Right. Oh, definitely. Like I said, though, Jared, all you really need is prosim, please, děkuji, thank you,
yes,
and dobrý den. And you can be slightly.
What's dobrý den again?
Dobrý den is a good day, or like hello.
Right.
But if you're with friends, you can say ahoy.
Oh, nice.
I love that, dude. Ahoy.
Ahoy.
AHOJ. Ahoy. Love that J on the end of there.
Okay. Do you have any more questions for me, Chad?
Yeah, I do.
Please.
What are your thoughts on movies? Do you think movies are helpful for learning another language?
Movies are a tough one for me. I mean, I guess you could do the subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes.
But which subtitles do you do? You do your English subtitles, or do you do them in that language?
You'd have to do the movie in the language that you're learning, and then the subtitles in English, because you got to hear them speak. You got to hear them saying it.
So here's what I would suggest with movies or with TV episodes, because I think those are also any video I think is good.
I prefer TV, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well, TV. I mean, if you can put, if you can put the English subtitles on, it's good, but I would prefer an episode or a movie that I've actually seen before, and I'll tell you why.
I agree with that, but I know what you're going to say, and I agree with it, but please tell the people why.
Well, folks, the reason why is because you already know what happened in the plot, so you can focus more of your attention on the language.
And you know what they say, so you know exactly what they're saying in English already.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if you just read it, you know what they're saying. It's like, all right, I understand why they maybe it'll help you understand why they chose that specific phrase if you know what they're saying.
Right. Like I loved to watch The Simpsons in German when I was in Germany, and I was 14 and my German wasn't that great yet. but I had seen the episodes, so I knew everything that was going on. And that's how I learned one of my favorite German words, which is ausgezeichnet. Do you know who says that in The Simpsons?
You know, Bart? I don't know.
No. Dude, who
I was never.
It means
I was
excellent.
Never yeah, I know what it means, but
So who
I was
said,
never a big.
Oh,
big
that's
Simpsons
right. You're not a
watcher.
big Simpsons guy. Okay. It was Mr. Burns. He would say excellent, and he'd be like,
Oh,
ausgezeichnet.
right. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense. Okay.
So that was pretty solid. I remember saying that word like the next day, and my aunt and my uncle were just like, where did that come from?
Is learning a new language fun for you? Do you consider
Oh,
it fun?
yeah, absolutely. It's
You enjoy the
exciting.
process?
Yeah. I think you really have to enjoy the process, and you have to also be aware that you're going to make mistakes, and there are going to be times where it's difficult or you reach a plateau. But my biggest tip, if you reach a plateau or you're feeling kind of down about it, is try to do something that you really enjoy with the language. So listen to some music, listen to something that will give you kind of a good feeling. You know what I mean? Like, if you enjoy reading grammar books, read the shit out of that grammar book.
You know one thing I like to do?
What?
I had some Calvin and Hobbes cartoons in German.
Oh, nice.
And I used to love reading Calvin and Hobbes when I was a kid. Shit, I still kind of like it now.
Oh, I do too. I still read it
And
now.
and I had some in German, and that was a good one. I like that. Because that was something that I would like reading just on my spare time anyway.
Right.
And so I was like, well, I guess I can read the German one, get some practice in while I'm doing this.
Right.
And so I think that is definitely an important one in itself, is finding something that, like don't, you have to make it as untorturous as possible.
Right.
Like, so find something that you actually want to engage with. Don't torture yourself, because then no one's winning at that point.
Right. You should be doing it because you well, it depends, I guess, because you could be doing it because you have the free time and you enjoy it, or it could be
Or you have to.
I was just gonna say, or it's a life or death situation.
Well, I mean, that's
survival.
life or death seems a little dramatic. I feel like there's a lot of in-betweens on have to
yeah.
and life or death. Like,
Well,
I had to
sure.
when I moved there, but it wasn't a life or death situation.
Right, but can you imagine if you immigrate somewhere, as a refugee and
I mean, especially in America, we've seen the videos on our social media. Speak American. You're in America.
Right. Oh man, yeah, I've never understood that, just because
No.
I think the great part of America is you can walk around, especially in cities, and hear people speaking so many different languages.
Also, people react like it's some sort of personal offense to them. Like,
Right.
it is, like, this is, first of all, this has nothing to do with you.
It's always hilarious how
It's like,
self-centered
I do this
people
because
are.
I hate America or something like
Right.
that.
I think it's funny that so many people do just assume, oh, they're talking about me. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, people are
So
paranoid.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. But
Yeah.
but Jared, I would still say one of my absolute favorite things to do regarding learning languages is, for me at least, listen to music. So for all of
Oh,
our
for sure.
right, so for all of our listeners out there, let us know what is your favorite way to learn a language. What are some of your tips and tricks? We would really appreciate it. And my biggest tip.
And
Yeah. Go ahead.
sorry. Go ahead. That's why I loved stuff like Seed and Waldorf and Stettler, because I also liked when they mixed in the English in there too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think having them English mixed in there helps a lot, because it helps you understand what they probably would have been saying
Right.
in the other lines, where it helps with context a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. And
where
not
it's
only
kind of an easy cheat.
right, and not only that, I really love songs that are really repetitive, which leads
Yes.
us to our song of the pod for this evening, which is by a very well-known German group called Die Ärzte, which means what, Jared? Die Ärzte?
The doctors.
Yes, sir.
That's plural, doctors.
The doctors, right. Der
'Cause
Arzt,
it's
die
der
Ärzte.
Der Arzt, yeah, right.
You got the umlaut change. Yep.
Right.
But yeah, so Die Ärzte, and they have been around in Germany for quite a long time. And I got to know of the band through a good friend of mine who was an exchange student when I was a freshman in high school. So shout out to Lasse for he actually gave me 2 Die Ärzte CDs, and they might have even opened the CD with the song. And yeah, so Jared, what are your impressions of it? I sent it to you a while back, and you gave it a listen. What are your thoughts?
It has a like it's a punk. They're a punk band,
Yep, definitely.
and it sounds very American to me. Like it sounds very reminiscent to your not your standard, but to your very the punk
Like
bands
pop
that you
punk.
think of from the '90s
Right.
and the early 2000s in America, like Green Day or
Blink-182.
Sum 41,
Right,
Blink-182.
yeah.
Like the Simple Plan. It had a very similar vibe to those
Mm-hmm.
bands, and it definitely just took me back. Like it almost took me back to if I were playing Tony Hawk or something like that.
Oh, nice. That is a good place to be taken back to. That's for sure.
It definitely felt like it could fit right into a Tony Hawk game.
Oh, definitely. It's probably in the German version, I betcha.
So this was this you learned about this song as a boy before you even went to Germany?
Correct. This was,
Okay.
or no, this would have been right after I came back, because I
Okay.
went to Germany spring break of 8th grade, came back and finished up, the semester, and then went to school again in August or September or whenever, and that's around when I met Lhasa. And it was funny because I got to give the man credit. He was very determined to improve his English. And so he didn't actually want to speak German, but he would let me try to speak German with him, and he would kind of talk to me and correct me and help me out with it. And he gave me
That's another great tip and trick. Is you could do that where
find a buddy.
Lhasa speaks English and you speak German.
Right.
And
Find
then you
that
guys can have
language
a full
buddy.
conversation that way.
That's right. That's our
But
bonus.
yeah, just in general, find a language
right?
buddy.
That's
Or
our
just find someone
bonus
that
tip and
also-
trick. Yeah, find a language buddy.
Man, we're too good to you people.
That's right. That's what I'm looking for right now in the Czech Republic. So to any of our Czech listeners out there, help me learn some Czech. Help a brother out.
Chad's putting up a what do you call it? Damn it.
An ad
OK Cupid ad for
Czech learning, language learning.
to learn language.
I wonder if there's like an app. I bet you there's got to be a language app out there like that. We'll have to. Ooh, we should
for
do an
sure.
episode about some language apps. Maybe and look
Okay.
at some stuff. That might be
Okay.
interesting. Anyways, back to Ein Lied für dich by Die Ärzte. Yeah, so I got this from my language buddy Lhasa, and I kid you not, Jared, I listened to this album. It was actually 2 albums, and it was a live album. I listened to it before and after school every day on the bus on my iPod. Kid you not.
See, at that point, even though your German probably wasn't that good, you still have the song memorized to a certain extent.
Oh, I had most of the songs memorized, and I think goes back to kind of our second or third tip, I'm not sure, about learning the sounds of the language. Right? So
Yes.
as
Oh, yes.
corny
That was
as
Martin
corny as this
Burns.
sounds, I sang along with it a lot, not usually on the bus, obviously, just rocking out, Jesus, I lead. No, I wasn't doing that, but
He took the bus driver's intercom system
Right.
like her.
Yep, live concert every day. I'm sure you'd make a lot of friends doing that. But yeah, but like I said, I listen to it every day before and after school. And if you think also about the amount of input that is, and of course I would ask Lhasa what the songs meant, things like that. They had some crazy
Shout out
songs
to
on the
Lhasa.
album, right? Yeah, so I think though a lot of that you can also, obviously it helps to have someone to talk to about it, but you can also nowadays with the internet look up so many things. Which is really a big
Yes.
plus.
Like I could play it
Mm-hmm.
through my intricate mixing system.
That's right. Sir Mix-a-Lot over here.
Yeah, I like the song. Ein Lied für dich, which is. Did you even say what that means? That's
Oh, I probably
German
didn't. How
for
rude.
A song for you.
That's right. A song for you. And it's
So-
just kind of, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's just kind of a catchy, kind of feel good.
Punk song.
Yeah. That's for you.
Did you have a favorite song from that album?
Ooh, man, that's a great question. Hold up. Now you're putting me on my toes. Hold up. I got to pull up the list. Let me see here. The album is called Wir wollen nur deine Seele, which means what, Jared? Wir wollen nur deine Seele?
We only want your. I don't know what Seele means.
Soul.
Oh, your
We
soul.
only want your soul. Uh-huh.
Okay, we only want your
There's
soul.
so many good hits on this one, honestly. Oh, man, I'm looking at this now, and I'm just getting extreme nostalgia.
Bringing
here.
back the memories.
But honestly, dude, there are 48 songs on this record.
Jeez.
Because I told you it's a double album and it was live. Probably.
That's even more than a double album.
I was right
That's
though.
a big double
I
album.
was right though. Ein Lied für dich was number 1 on there. Shunda Song
Nice.
is number 2. That one's great. Angeb, they're all great. Probably maybe my favorite is Langweilig, which means boring.
Langweilig.
That one's a
Okay.
good one. We'll have to do that one for another song on the pod.
We can bring the Ärzte back.
There's so many good ones here.
They are. Would you call them German legends? Germany legends?
I
Have they reached legend status?
I would say so, but I'm obviously super.
We're young,
I'm super biased. I think.
right?
I think they're very famous. I don't know. Let's see. I wonder what awards they've won. Let's see. I bet you they've won some serious awards.
I don't
would
even know what kind of
imagine.
awards they do in Germany. Who watches that?
They do awards.
I'm sure they
so
do.
2003 MTV Europe
old as
Music
fuck.
Award. I mean, they're
Ugh.
in their 50s now, I believe.
Dude, that one blonde dude looks like a villain.
Oh,
Like,
Fagen
he's
Urlaub.
He's
Check
is
out
that
his,
his name?
yeah. Well, that's the stage name, yeah. But you should check out his solo work. He's got some bomb solo work.
I don't like his face. It's scary.
So, well, you listen to his music. Don't look at his face. There you go.
Is that his natural hair color? It's so blonde.
Maybe, I don't know.
Looks like he dunk his head into a thing bleach.
I don't know. You'll have to shoot him an email and ask him.
All right, now that he's whoa, I think they've reached legend status. I didn't realize Farin Urlaub. I'm looking at his Wikipedia. He's 54.
Yep.
These dudes are old.
Yep. But they're great, and they still perform, and they kill it. I've never seen them live, but I've seen plenty of YouTube videos, and they are fantastic.
Is that the same age as the Red Hot Chili Peppers? Or are they in their 40s?
They're in their 50s too, I think.
Okay.
I would imagine that would sound about right. I could be wrong. But yeah, so Ein Lied für dich is a fantastic song. We'll be posting it up on our Twitter in a little bit. And
Anthony
check it out.
Anthony Kiedis is 55.
So there you go. But yeah, so check that out, and make sure whenever you're listening to music and you're trying to use it in an advantageous way to learn a language, look up the lyrics. As corny as it sounds, sing along, and hopefully you all will be one step closer to reaching your language goals.
Yeah.
Well, Jared,
I'll post that to the Twitter, by the way.
Thank you.
You just said that, didn't you?
I did, good sir, but thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
So, Jared, we've gotten pretty serious this episode, so I think it's time to lighten the mood a little bit with a couple corny jokes. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I can't wait.
All right, I only got 2 of them, and
Okay.
they're both kind of nerdy language jokes because I figured they'd be kind of fitting. So, also learn some jokes in a language. There's another bonus tip for you. 2 bonus tips we've had this episode. So here we go, Jared. Couple English grammar jokes for you. Here we go. What did the comma say to the period?
Why are you slowing down? It's time to stop.
Okay, actually, just we better slow down. So that was really good. You might want to hit that.
Oh, is that what it is?
You might want to hit that ham horn real quick. Yes, sir.
I can't
That's
do
right.
a partial ham horn.
That's right. What did the
Wait, so
comma
what
say to the period? We better slow down. And now here's my other one.
Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, man.
that was really good. What
Thank
was
you.
what? Now I have one more. What did the period say to the comma? What did the
I don't know.
period say to the
I don't know.
comma?
That's tougher. That's
You,
tougher.
you already said it. We better stop.
Oh.
Get it? Because periods stop sentences.
No, I understand what periods do. Full stop,
Right?
as they say when they were doing
Dramatic period.
No. When they're doing like a
Telegram?
Yes.
Telegram.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I got you. That's
Full
right.
stop.
I like those jokes, so they're kind of corny, but they make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really like the one. It's way
That's why you make a great teacher.
right. I
You
try.
love a good corny language joke.
I use language jokes in my class. I actually I
can imagine your kids giving you a fake pathetic laugh.
Oh, dude,
you-
I
and
will
you
be
thinking that they
if
mean
if
it.
I ever have children, I guarantee you I will be the king of dad jokes. The ultimate
Oh, yeah,
king
for
of
sure.
dad jokes without a
For
doubt.
sure.
And then I'll probably have to buy some like white New Balances,
Oh god.
you know, like a striped polo,
Oh god.
you know, some
Tuck it
carpenter
into your
khakis.
khakis, yeah.
yes. But yeah. Anyways, I do. So you well here. Let me hit you with a joke from a few episodes back and see if you remember it. What does
Okay.
a mom call her baby kangaroo?
Oh
I
man.
told you this one. What does a mom call her baby
Because
kangaroo?
I remember we were talking about Joey, and it has nothing
Yep.
to do with Joey.
It doesn't.
That was not even that long ago.
No.
That was only like 2 episodes
Yep.
ago.
Yes, sir.
I don't remember.
A pouch potato.
Right.
And I told
Damn it.
and I told that joke in my English class, and one of my students, she loves the idiom couch potato. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Chad.
She was dying. It was great.
Oh.
And she was
Oh my
of
God.
course she was the only one laughing. Go figure.
All right, Chloe, calm down.
Right. Anyways, all right, here's my last joke of our pod tonight, Jared.
Didn't you say you had 2 jokes?
Yeah, this is my last one. This is numero dos.
Oh, right, the period and comma.
They were
kind
kind of one. They were like a
That's
package.
true. That's true. That's fair.
Right. And I'm going to hit you with a classic knock knock joke, Jared. Knock
Oh,
knock.
shit. Who's there?
2.
To who?
No, it's to whom.
Oh.
Although
That was nice.
although Americans rarely use whom. Maybe in writing you see it. I feel like if you say that in speech, people are going to be like, "What? To whom?"
I don't like to use whom because it just makes me feel like a douche.
Why?
Because it's a no one like even if you say it properly, no one says it.
Right.
So when it's so very noticeable when you do say it. Also, when I always try to make a point to say lie because people always say lay in bed, which is
Right.
wrong.
You're right. It's I lie
Lay
in
means
bed.
to lay something out to the table.
Right.
You lie down. You lie in bed.
Right.
And even when I say lie, I feel like it sticks out and people
Right.
but it's like, well, this is right.
Yeah.
And so that's how I feel about that.
Can
too. It's
I-
like sometimes I honestly just don't even know. But if I do know, I still feel weird sometimes saying
Right.
whom because it's like people would think it's like
Right.
this douche.
Well, can I drop some more random language stuff on you, Jared?
Please.
So we have these 2 types of things. We have prescriptive grammar, and I think the other one might just be descriptive. And prescriptive grammar is basically the way you should say things, right? So using whom or lie correctly. But then descriptive grammar is more like basically like what you say, right? So like some people will say like I'm gonna go lay down, right? That's not correct, but people say it,
Yeah, a lot of people say it.
right? But Jared's bringing the true knowledge to all of our listeners, and it should be I lie down. I would agree with you, Jared.
You're about to bring the true knowledge with this quote, though.
That is true. Yes, we have come to the quote of the pod. And since I am in the Czech Republic, I had to give you all a Czech proverb, which is, you live a new life for every language you speak. If you only know one language, you only live once.
Do you know who said that?
It's just a Czech proverb. So unfortunately, I do not.
I like that, though. I like that.
It's good. I'm sure Drizzy Drake
Very
would also
similar
be
to the
proud of
one
it. You only live
Drizzy
once.
Drake.
Drake, like
Oh, okay.
you only
I
live
missed
once.
that one. I got it. Right.
But yeah.
That's where that was the original YOLO.
It was
The Czech
proverb.
Thought of it.
I'll have to figure out what it actually is in Czech, and maybe it'll be something cool like YOLO, but something different.
That'll be a nice treat a couple weeks from now as you give us that quote in Czech.
Right? That'll
Give us
take me a bit.
The original.
That will definitely take me a minute.
Totally. All right. I'm sorry, everyone. We were having a nice episode, and I ruined it.
There are far worse ways to go out, Jared. That's for sure. But we definitely want to thank all of our listeners out there for sending us some of their lovely emails and different things. We appreciate all the untranslatables and everything else. I hope you've enjoyed our tips and tricks to learn a language. We will be coming to you on Monday, so stay tuned for our next episode. You have anything to leave our listeners with tonight, Jared?
We're international now, baby.
That's right.
This is a whole new chapter in our life together, Chad, and I'm excited to see how it goes.
That's right. So look out for hopefully some guests on our podcast in the near future.
Yes.
Definitely some new Czech words of the pod, so be ready for that. Hope you all are ready to learn some Czech. Oh, Turdelnik, the little treat. That's right. So please though, do not forget to subscribe or follow us on Twitter at Untranslatable1. Please check out our Instagram at Untranslatable Podcast. and shoot us an email at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you, and we hope you all have a great evening.